나서 산제 주던 소제 주남라 천주 파도 다닌 접수체 다제 전송계배 조남제 졸라벤제 산제 로버쇼 산제 주던 소제 주남라 천주 파도 단 다예 전송계배 조남지 졸라벤제 산제 로버쇼 산제 주던 소제 주남라 천주 파도 다닌 접수체 다제 전송계배罗边界上界如果是多年你就松土周边这些是在看见等这个长那边么等人家做了所谓的说现在很多让咱们松肉过了大约米给上他们这边就说这边就别他边这边也现在新年那么大差这多 OK are you in English or say Simon
I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit sentient beings.
Also now I think we want the verse 20
Yes.
벽에 접착인다. dübeyüle dübeyüle yittöndü mirumbas takesa dirva azögi dübeyüle yittöndü rungumare seyatla takesa nenga chishudi dewe kebe chamecha chagoleni jigdenki te da ringshin torgöbe dembali didi rabdo dos cheche tadikesa şutapçı da chunjidi nyeba tane nyeba tane 망중심 다 되게 잘해 아 간제 아니 강기 대화단 동해 용식이다 교대도 차과차들 잡에 아니 강한 차과제식이 유del라 타 예로 로버딜라 가디니 유된도 그런 거 말이스 유된세티 이 버길에 땜비게 졌다 이 비게 녀버치게 져봐 다 뒤된도 미롱의 유전배 발전해서나 뒷tem부민도가 세지 계산으로서 템부를 기대 저도 또 쓰러 제상가 코 말한주 그 주부치해야 돼 코랑신 템보다 약보다 레코스 망고 상도단지 띠온도 좀 자와 템부시 부치기 점버제서기 시들이야 로출지 템부인 뭐임버지를 템도 셈버인자 아니 로출버지 차용 거예요 다들 예보군 자와도 차로도 와 대인도 전에 다 될 때니 아니 이 땡큐요 말이스 아니 그때 때문에 아니 아주 냠용한데 가려였으나 아니 녀봤다네 망중심 자다니 뭐 중줄장 녀당 답에 초제데 강도 농외 뜰매도 시제 들으셔 당연 들으셔도 마치 송셔다 네데
Just sort of the main sort of subject material we've been talking about here is to do with how the things which we desire, things which we wish or hope for, desire, are in some sense either unstable or untrustworthy. That they can't be, they're untrustworthy when we try to rely on them. So just looking back through the verses here, and so we have verse number hang on a second, I've got the root text up. Verse number 18, where it talks about hang on, let just get the I've got the thing. English.
verse number 19 차이스를
The Stephen Batchelor translation, the computer gone on this. This qua regular. 18 탐보다 18 Lord about 18 Lord about uh
19대 로션 되게.
okay, came into yeah. So Rinpoche was reading through the verses, but so he said so 18 is so that you thoroughly confused mind by piling up whatever objects you're attached to, misery a thousandfold will ensue. But then there's from verse 19 it says, hence the wise should not be attached, because fear is born from attachment. With a firm mind, understand well that this is the nature of things to be discarded. So if we sort of looking at this, what we're looking for is this kind of cause of all of the faults or the problems, the kind of complications that arise for us, and this is really to do with the fact that we always seek which is that which is good, that which is excellent, things which are stable. We search for those, we desire those, but actually what happens is that the cause of our sort of difficulties comes from the fact that a mistaken mind which doesn't understand the way things are. So for instance, we don't understand things, particularly in this case, it's about things which are for instance, in the last two lines of 19, where it says with a firm mind, uh, with a firm mind, understand well that this is the nature of these things to be discarded. So we need to understand that the things are not trustworthy, they're not stable or reliable. But we tend to, with our mistaken mind, we tend to think of them as trustworthy or reliable, and that mistaken mind is what creates a lot of faults for a lot of complications for us. And then Shantideva advises us in verse number 20, where he says, although I may have much material wealth, be famous and well spoken of, whatever fame and renown I have amassed has no power to accompany me after death. So this is sort of advising us about our engagement with things which we desire, which are not trustworthy or stable.
단다 니슈도 로규로 봐. verse
Yeah,
20.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you read 20, please?
Yes. Although I may have much material wealth, be famous and well spoken of, whatever fame and renown I have amassed has no power to accompany me after death.
다디나로라 인치기드나라 뜰매도 세딜라 시카리잡도.
So that has been translated. They've put the line together, and it says, "Has no power to accompany me after death." It's a difficult translation. The Padmakara says, "Oh, yeah, it's not. I think it's not well translated in English." Yeah,
되게
it's
okay.
the last line. Has no power to accompany me. Yeah, so.
오케이. 다 간지 디나로를 뜰매도 세야디 도대체 잡아나르시아.
Yeah.
뜰매도 세 되시더라. 도대체 잡기 저와디나로라야 뜰매도 대세도 다 뒤에 뒤페제 쇼랑 십경업 중합된지 다 지난디 과리균하고 와서
I get it all. Yeah.
예 지난디 디마시 뒤다 인구수지 이데메바네스 다디야 드르샤 디가도 디체 다디 마즈 용베이나 아니 랑치베체 에네 녜바다 초베 초당 제데 타라 강도 동웨 뜰메도 때스 때들 하제르바 다 지금 디 가리 디 중고도스나 강도 로미시바고 강도 로미시바
Yeah.
지금
Yeah, Russ.
어디 다디 강도 로미시바 쇠바 세디 직디 축부도 디 축침부도 디지 송다냐.
So there's, I think in order to really unpack this word, which in the Tibetan is called dome, it's used in the last line, which is not, it doesn't carry well across into the translation, is to because the translation says no power to accompany me after death. But what that really means, if we look into Dinchogi Drapa's commentary of this verse, he says at the time of death, those things that we've gained and our fame and repute, the whole collection of these things, it's where will it go when we have to move on? When we have to move on to another, in this case, to another life, where will it go? And literally, it means something like Dolme means there's no certainty. But then Tudun Chogi Drapa explains that by saying, we don't know where we'll be going. That's how he explains it. So that's he says the meaning of this last line is we don't know where contour say the sosugi niedan tra den sugi contour wa sosu contour.
So quiet and Roman pseudos.
Yeah, so we don't know ourselves where we'll be going.
Don't know in Jimari. It's more like it will not let us go take the next move easily.
Ale.
Dire. Romishiba sons. Kiran Keja Shetan Chiki. The way you say like this, now you have taken my control. That I cannot say anything to you now. Right? So more like when you are so attached to your place, and then somebody says, please go to another place. You don't want to go. Because now the attachment towards your place has kind of taken away your next move. So you don't have any option B. Even there could be thousands of options, but now you stop there. So in the Tibetan word, two understandings are there. The first one is more stronger, saying now this attachment towards frame and towards the people giving me respect, all this I can see it's taking away my whatever you wanted to do. It is not letting you to do it. But we never thought like this way. So quite a good example is when if you have some good benefactor survey, benefactor survey.
Benefactor, yeah.
A benefactor, and then that benefactor start giving more donation to some other, and then it kind of you feel something is going on, and then you automatically feel like just giving. Maybe that person really needs the money, and then your benefactor is a Bodhisattva who wanted to help there, and you are there. You don't want to look into another situation whether this is really beneficial or not, but it's his money, but because he is your benefactor, that you just put it that appreciation far away. There's nothing appreciate. That person is helped. Your sponsor is helping the other person who really needs that. But you cannot, from your mouth, you will say, oh, you are doing amazing. But deep inside, there's something else. There's something else. So why does this comes is not other than the clinging towards name, frame, and everything. And there you cannot move on to become such an open-hearted. That has such a strong explanation that Tudun Chogi Thapa explained that way. The second way, which is in English translation, saying once we have to leave this world, you cannot take your name and everything, then this kind of explanation is also there. Trinchita was saying also there, but the first one gives you more meaning. Tanda Trinchita will mutin drawena yang kando dongwe del mebani chibi se tatagi jesu mitanwe tendoshi chebayang yodos. So say the way he explains, people sometimes explain like this way. But for me, the first one is much more better to understand, take away. Samuel Rasma?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is. Jikche. Meadows. Now here, quite difficult to check your mind here is, I think, when do you say that your attachment is deeply rooted, getting rooted there? So now this is difficult for us. Somehow you feel necessary. You feel like you need it. You need it. That sounds like necessary. But it's more you really want it through the attachment. These two can be very confusing for us. So now, for the practitioners, I think it is very good exercise, mind exercise, saying this up to this is necessary. And this, even I have it, I will be happy. If I don't have that, I'll be super happy. And then seeing, if I put more efforts in this, it is waste of my time, energy, and it will bring more suffering onward. If you can say this, then we can say we have started a kind of practicing. Otherwise, and then it's more like you need everything. You need everything, and you tell other people, this is waste of time. Don't do this. So it's more like me, kind of me. I need everything, and I telling you, you should be good. You should be limited. You should be not doing this. So it is necessary. So that's the reason it is kind of relevant there. At the time of, I think, probably 7th Dalai Lama, when one teacher was giving a teaching to a student, and then he said, now the
Being satisfied and having few desires.
few desires.
Having few desires and being having smaller desires.
Contentment. Contentment. Okay, contentment. So when he was giving example, in order to, without not having more desire or distraction, then a person should have more contentment. Then he gave an example. In the past the time, the great example is Milarepa himself. And then the student goes like nodding, yes, that's true. And then he said, our timing, the great 6th Dalai Lama is the one good example. Then the student goes like, I cannot express this. And then his master laughed at him and gave a smile. And then said, because through my omniscience, I can see, because I do have a because I have the clairvoyance of knowing what people are thinking. Can we say that? Yeah. So I can see how his holiness is thinking. So because you don't have that. And then he said, I need more explanation. Then he said, His Holiness Dalai Lama, even he is the king of Tibet, the seventh Dalai Lama. And in his mind, there are only 2 or 3 things that he feels this is mine, which are his the robes, and then one maybe kind of a book or something. So then he point out these are the only 2 or 3 things that he thinking that's mine. Then the rest, including his bed sheet and all the belongings of the potala, that belongs to Tibetan people. And he is using this as a kind of to serve others. We need to have some kind of this and kind of necessary. So this is how the second way he explained is how the Bodhisattvas use other things. So that's why Buddha said to some of his students who are on the level of Theravada schools where
The Theravada school, yeah.
school followers. Right.
That's
Right. To them, he said, you cannot touch the gold directly. If somebody is offering you money, then you cannot touch it. Even sometimes you have to say no. Mostly no. But then for the Bodhisattvas, he said, if you don't take it, if you or some people are giving it through their own faith, so much the faith they are giving it to you, you need to take it. So this is also known as Sheng Sem Song. How do you translate it?
Protecting others' minds as well. Protecting others' minds.
Protecting, it's better more taking care of other people's feeling.
Taking care of others' minds.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know. Protecting could be the right one.
Oh, yeah, taking care of.
Yeah. So it's the mind, the level of the minds. It's not about because they are different schools. It's more about the ability of mind, which can really handle the situation better. So this is how we designed these teachings. So now, as the verse 20, where it says "tel me to," this is short sentence or this word has a very heavy meaning. Tel me to. Now, okay, now we move on. 21. 达了没把闲语呢对别大概继续句，达了对把闲语呢没别没个继续句。Okay, 21, please.
If there is someone who despises me, what pleasure can I have in being praised? And if there is another who praises me, what displeasure can I have in being despised?
Okay, this is a very popular verse. You maybe heard many times, most of you. When I was very young in a temple, when His Holiness was giving a teaching on specifically this, then when I heard this, and then His Holiness, now this is very popular. Everybody kind of knows this, very familiar. And then His Holiness was explaining, and then in my mind, I felt like, sounds like very nice, but how to understand that? They're saying, if somebody is praising, then why should be getting a pride? Because somebody is also at the same time kind of
Slandering or disparaging you, slandering.
Oh, slandering, okay.
Oh.
Looking down on you, saying bad things about you, gossiping about you. So then the answer is very simple from my side. Say, when somebody is praising me, this pride comes because of this. I'm not focusing about that. Right? I like the way he praises. So it's a kind of human nature. So how does that the verse really helps us to understand? So I was thinking like, why it's so famous? Because it sounds nice, or is it a really heavy meaning? So if you look at the English translation here, could be that every time there is some meaning, the meaning is in the kind of a laying under the ground. It's like the root is under the ground and the flower is just blossoming. But the more deeper inside you wanted to go, you need to go in the root to see how it is so the depth of this beauty of this verse. So I try to look at, I recently found that. A long time I heard many people saying this, and then I hang out with some friends, and then I say, yeah, why so happy because somebody's saying bad? Why are you unhappy because somebody's saying good? You say this. But sometimes it doesn't work on me because I didn't go deeply inside on the meaning of this. The English decores was you, yeah. Hold on. What did you use?
21 river.
가 뒤로 봐. 그래. 얘들 나는 주주도 어디도 here it is. Okay. 가서 21 silver.
21.
Okay. If there is someone who ale 가서 despise me.
Yeah.
The matter down is bad.
Yeah, it's a bit more like put you down, slander
Oh.
you, something like that. It has more of
Okay.
that.
Despise. Yeah.
Right.
What pleasure I can have in being praised. If there's another one who praise me, so yeah. Now going directly to the church tab here, 21. That the 21 the current the worst one. 때문에 가와쳐 메리바니스 셴양 달라 민기비 쩐 그래서 달라사 미가비스 쩐상주데 메버쳐 셴 거시 커지 가외 장하고 주데对将다 가와 지시유 대탐진이 미되베 대 가와를 계치비치를 대신도 달라 되버쳐 셴 거시유나 커지 메베장 다 미가와 지시유 탐제제 미메베 대모가와 계치 객치 유베소 대나사 다딜 대나 때문에라 차당당사 가 메가 수 제반이 된다 인부 메비 집에 쥐어 코나 세바데 대세대 들어와 따라와 따고 받아 인데세 들어와 대 때문에 제베에서 토면당 상해 중세경 민줄라 페네게 메비시로 스타디르 아 다디나로네 지난주 교르비가블이야 내가 지슈디들이 식타마 타마들이 차장 지난주 라고에 수말에 아 되나 때면로서 뭐 차당 가 미가서 제바니사 된다 인부 매버 집에 그쪽 코너를 세테스 아니 김생 가르레스라나 때문에 제베 토면당 상엔도 중세도 민줄라스 어디를 디나고도 가르치는 스나나 디 편부시 위에 좀 생각을 남샤견도 수소들이 그냥 리줄다 이 얘기 되는 말 인지 잡셔들
So I'll translate it first, and then Rinpoche will explain it in English. So I'll paraphrase the first bit, and then I'll translate the last bit of it. So it's sort of saying, why are we getting up? This is the commentary of Thupten Chögyam Drapa to this verse, and it's saying, why should we get upset when somebody despises us because if there's someone to despise us, why should we get upset and take pleasure in being praised if there are other people who despise us? So not everybody's going to praise us, and so and also in the same way, why do we if there are others who praise us, why do we take displeasure in being despised? Because not everybody is going to be able to not everyone's going to praise us, and not everybody will blame us. So the last lines read in this piece of the translation says, so therefore we shouldn't have attachment and aversion to being praised and being blamed or slandered, disparaged, and we shouldn't sort of have happiness at being praised, and we shouldn't have unhappiness at being blamed or slandered, because in reality they have no real essence, and those ways of operating are the ways only of the child, the sign of that's the kind of behavior only of the childish. And so whether it's praise or blame, whether it's being being high or low, being good or bad, whatever because there's Chinzi Megillah, Pinugang. So there's no real benefit to either of these, to all of these things, whether it's praise or blame, whether it's being high or low, whether it's being positive or negative. Really, there really is no either benefit or harm related to either of those things. In reality, there's no essence to them. That's what he says at the end of the commentary.
오케이. 자, this explanation saying because if somebody is praising you, that you become so happy, and then if somebody disparage, disparage,
or blame, you can say blame.
if somebody is saying bad towards you, okay, put in a simple. Let's put it simple. In order not to confuse you or confuse myself, is saying something bad towards you, and then you don't need to be upset. Normally, it's a kind of a 타바스는 가르치게 돼. 캬바들 가르치게 돼.
There's no pervasion, or there's no pervasion.
Pervasion, or it's a it is kind of a guaranteed that if somebody says something bad to you, and then it is your reaction should be like, I need to be angry. If somebody praises you, and then it's more like, thank you. I welcome that. So it's more like you are, if we put this understanding in a very beautiful way, it's more like we are living on a kind of a controller, remote control. Here's a button, you become happy. And then somebody put a kind of a black button, and then you have to become angry. So now what it is a takeaway from this by saying, now from just it is more like from just keeping away from the childish behaviors is for myself to become strong, that in the future, if somebody starts praising me, I will not just welcome that easily. I will look into myself whether I have these qualities or not. Where did I something do very well or not? I will check. I will check myself. And I will be happy. Not because somebody's told me or comments about me. That's something very huge. These days, like social media time, many people get upset because of the bad comments and good comments. So right now it becomes so fast. And then also a little bit kind of a, it is start talking about a friend and or somebody you knew that they are praising or they're saying bad things about you. But now, social media time, we are connected to the world. And anybody can say anything now. We should be ready for it. Not because they said it, doesn't mean necessarily it's good. They say something bad, it necessarily not saying it's really bad, something, right? So that's why Tubden Chögyita was the clarity of this explanation.
Rinpoche, I'll just retranslate it because I realized that my translation was not very accurate. So what it says is, being he shouldn't have there's no essence to, there's no real meaning or essence to us getting attached to praise and being averse to slander or blame or slander, and getting happy and unhappy on the basis of those. This is only a kind of this is a form of sort of childish behavior, only a form of childish behavior. And then Rinpoche stressed this word because it uses a preposition in the text which says, because that praise and that blame or slander don't make us higher or lower, or they don't make us better or worse. And therefore there's absolutely no meaning, and therefore there's no actual benefit or harm that accrues. There's none at all. So it's because the praise and blame don't actually make us higher or lower, and they don't make us better or worse. Therefore it's only a form of childish behavior. That's the best way to translate it.
Oh, this is good. This is good. Panda ningu me ba chibi juba konar se des töbar chebe tomen dan sangi jungse jang minjurlas minjurla peneji jeme be sos oda diri batene tölme to se de de tölme to sa de de odi dirisha peneji jeme dos ta di bodu chabachi ta tene 22 22 didn't dunzi mibal ni chiba da towa kawe di dunzi le chagwa mi cheba ante sheje go ba wos semje me ba na choba gewe gyang ne muguna dangdang ngembi me jigu tewe jigden samba tang 22 please.
If even the conqueror was unable to please the various inclinations of different beings, then what need to mention a malicious person such as I? Therefore, I should give up the intention to associate with the worldly.
I'll just read the outlines from Rinpoche. So the next part of the text of Rinpoche read the outlines from Gyaltsab Je, and the outlines are the first is the fault of kind of distractions, but it's more like the fault of kind of frivolous activities and our comings and goings. And it says, since it is difficult to be associated with the child, there are two outlines. Since it is difficult to be associated with the childish, one should not be attached to their distractions or to this worldly comings and goings. And then it has a section stating supporting quotes. So verse 22 is about difficult to be associated with the childish because one should not be attached to our worldly comings and goings. That's the best way to.
Badirisha. Yun Rinpo Kodoru Doshin Jibe Guyu Jigno Tsu Yami Shibe Chiba Dando Mo Wadadiri. Da Simje Meba Na Tsuba Goa Minu Di Chinde Na Tsoki Tunzibi Gewe Jani Miguna Sam Shibe Danda Nyembe Gi Gu Minu Ba Chishigo Tena Jigdenba Na Toba Samba Tama was. Here it is. Now we need quite an explanation there. First, the victorious one. Right? Dewa Sedribe. To conquer.
Conquerors.
The conqueror was unable to please. If the conqueror was unable to please, unable to please, Lavina, does it have some kind of understanding that the conqueror cannot please the sentient beings or what?
Yes, in the translation it says, I'll just read that passage that Rinpoche read, which is the Gyaltsab Je passage. It says, one cannot fulfill the various wishes of sentient beings. This is Gyaltsab Je's commentary. If even the conquerors cannot fulfill their wishes with their diverse enlightened activities, then what need is there to mention someone inferior like oneself who does not know their thoughts, therefore give up the thought of associating with worldly people? So the conquerors cannot fulfill their wishes.
If you explained that Buddhas cannot, that means he does not have an ability to help others. That's a wrong translation. Because why we need to become a Buddha? It's like you wanted to be like a sun that will shine. Ability to help others equally at the same time. But who will get the inspirations and the examples? That also depend on the each and every being. More that the person has merit and more pure karma and has a karma to listen to the teachings, that person can receive. But the person does not have this kind of thing, staying just with the Buddha for eons and eons, no guarantee. But we'll get some benefit, but not the real benefit that we are talking about. So cannot please means more that the Buddha, if we think like this, Buddha does not have a kind of he has an understanding that sentient beings will, even he give his best teachings, and he will devote his life, time, everything to the sentient beings, he knows that it takes time. It takes like forever time, but the Buddha is there. So the Buddha who has given everything, was there's nothing left for himself, that kind of thing. And if somebody asks, what will you get from this? It's like, what are you talking about? I get everything. That's the answer from Buddha. But it's more not like so self-cherishing. What will I get from it? I will get everything. What are you talking about? So this understanding is very good in the entering to the middle way, where Chandrakirti will talk about the first bhumi, talking about the first bhumi, saying that the first bhumi is on the its name, the Karsadi, Jimba generosity.
Yes, it's
Well,
perfection.
perfection of generosity. And they say the sign of this, of the Bodhisattva, when he's meditating, he hears somebody say, please give me a food, or give me $100 million. He will be super happy. Just hearing this, super happy. That kind of happiness, even the person who is meditating, the arhats meditating for thousands and thousands of years, they are not getting this kind of happiness. So it's there. So that's why one understanding about compassion and the bodhicitta, the sign of a great realization of generating compassion, emptiness, all this will live with so much kind of a joy. Not you're emptying it out. It's more like it's bringing so much out from you that you could never believe that you have this kind of a power within you. So that's why why I'm saying this?
Sure.
It's really funny. The Buddha does have a lot of patience, but he will never think that giving this teaching, that every time the whole world will be very happy to receive this kind of teaching. Then also in his sutra, in the Tudinchugita's commentary, it's there, say in the sutra, people who does have a faith towards me, if you just measure it, it's like a dirt on my finger. People does not have a kind of a faith, and then who does not kind of appreciate my teaching, it's like the whole world dirt everywhere. So he kind of already said that. So I'm saying this needs explanation. So it is not like Buddha cannot please everybody. Not please means giving a teaching and then they just go like, this is what I really need. This is something. But that's why Buddha is so kind. Buddha is not expecting that. So now the next one is better. Jevijan Maguna, if the great being who has given everything to sentient beings, he is having a patience to understand that people won't appreciate, but I give everything to them. But me, even I cannot give a kind of a good guidance or a kind of good example to my long-time related family or friends. And then thinking like, if I do just something that everybody will be happy, or I will gain something out of it. That Dr. Nyembe, that Nyembe is, I don't know if evil is a good translation there. It is the kind of mistaken mind. Not, I think, evil. Evil has a very strong meaning down there. So evil, I don't know it's a good translation or not, but it's more like a very mistaken mind. So if you look at the translation, the commentary by Tobin Choyi Tagwa, 디리타 22 봐.
Yeah.
윤ring부스데 윤ring부 바도 조신 디비 조직기사 르 최장 미시베 디도와 미시베에서 지바 단다와 르명년바 르 르몽스도와 르몽 르몽도 몽바스고바 년베스 디카레 년바디 카레스네 삼로당단디스고바 년베 삼지기 심 고르 지미네바 담매긴 지구스 다들 랍 고야 그래요 말스 어디야 고요래 디지로 한다
Where is it, Rimshi? Just read it again. Yun Ringbo. Gonda.
윤ring비 바도 독신 디비 토지기 르 최장 미시베 지바 단대와 디라소에 야와 남기 계획장 고르 까비 춘인 돌레 세디간데도와
I totally lost it. Hang on a sec, Rimshi. It's Gonda. The tip the KO mess, the Shimbadi. Yes, the page done.
이들 단기 로사드네 마스 런디 인제 단기 로사드네 인제
Oh gosh.
가져로다 니슈다란 주도션 딕스레
Yikdang, this go.
아.
Yun Ringbo. I can't find it. Sorry, hang on, Rimshi. Sorry. You mess. The lungi all of it in the Gawick young Gower Katsu did.
디 강들도 와. 디 강들의 인된 친구 좀.
Sorry. Oh yeah, got it. Yeah, so you remember the Badu Droshin Dira one. Sigjede.
어디?
Yeah. So this is particular particularly related to this way in which in which it's very difficult to please the childish beings, and it says even after a long time of befriending them and accompanying them, so someone like myself who is not able to take the measure of the other people's I'm someone who doesn't someone like myself, when it's talking about when Rimshi said the evil, so in Drapa saying it's more like someone who's a little bit dull or confused, and being a bad person in that sense, and lacking and being confused and stupid. If I even though I accompany and befriend people for a long time, I'm not someone who knows the minds of the other sort of childish beings, and are not able to take the measure of other people's minds, and therefore of course, why is there any need to speak about why someone like who is a little bit dull and confused like myself would be able to please all of the other, please all the other sentient beings? Why would I even think that for someone like
어디죠? Okay. That the tamadelia, the last one, the sentence the do you should say the if there's Mariman, you should say therefore I should give up the intention to associate with the worldly. So now also this one. Because it is so difficult to make others very happy. That means if you make others happy, that you will get happiness from there. So it's more like you shouldn't think like this way. If I make every people happy, you will gain something happiness from there. This is something you should stop. And then, because in the earlier part, it is already talked about, it is difficult to, if you think that the praise you get from others, and then you need to be super careful, because it is some kind of a thing that maybe this so-called depressing, that somehow it will take control of your way of thinking, the real judgment from your mind, it will take away from you. So all this, then it comes to saying, therefore I should give up the intention to associate with the worldly. So for how long? Forever? It's not like this, because we are talking about real Bodhisattva's life, and it's more to connecting with others. So in the word it says like, now I'm not going to associate with any other people. But to the Shantideva, it's commentary down there, it says Rishik, for the time being, until I become strong. Because now, I mean, this section is the meditation part. So into the meditation part, now it's talking about, I need to have a time alone. And that means I will never just go easily on just saying like, when you are meditating and you have already published a book, and then somebody comes and saying, wow, it is you got an award. And then His Holiness the Lama praised that so much. And then, well, anything, right? It could be very difficult for you to meditate. You just go like book coming in your yeah. So then maybe like I should now go to Megalod and see people's reaction. How much respect. I have one story in Canada. I have one friend. So he opened the center, and before he's not that respected in the monastery. I don't need to name that monastery and the person for sure. And then at time to time he in the monk community and everywhere, when you become too friendly, and then sometimes they give you a nickname. Of course. And then somehow the great thing is, even they are called by nicknames, somehow they don't care. More like they will just give you the real name, and then somebody confuse you. Then he will say, no, you don't understand. People normally don't recognize me on this. So I am this. So he will
give the nickname to you. So I call this is one kind of blessing of way of thinking through also training from the monastery. So I met him, and then he shared one of his experience, very sweet of him sharing this to me. He said, like, for a long time, he's supporting his monastery and sending lots of money to the monastery for the supporting. And then monastery will send a lots of very nice letter, official hat, all like so much respected words and everything. And he then after maybe like 6 years, he's going back to his monastery. And he thought like, well, now it's a different now. Everything is different. So he went there and he reached at night, late night in the monastery. And then in the morning, he was so eager to see the reaction of his friends and the monastery monks. And then he opened his door in the morning with a cup in his hand and just like looking at the balcony, showing his face like this. And then one of his classmates just called him, hey, with the nickname. He called him with the nickname. His pride just to go like that. He felt like, oh, it's the same me, same old me. It was so good. So same thing like that. So the praise that you're looking can be very dangerous. So so because during the meditation you need to stay away from many things that is really harming you. It's not the people, and it's not how people talks to you or reaction from them. I think it's more whatever they say from how you take it. You take it sometimes too seriously. And then sometimes you put lots of kind of a Oh, what happened? Oh, you're muted.
So the incorrect mental engagement with things, incorrect conceptual engagement with things. So incorrect conceptual ideas, basically.
So it's more to train yourself with this. So that if somebody sees bad to you, that you don't need to immediately bring the kind of reaction of super happy, joy, and then depress, nothing like that. So this is why one biggest reason to become isolated from everybody. And then we can be like a Milarepa, staying in the cave, being isolated, and then he goes back to the village, and then where he got it's really funny because when he Milarepa put lots of effort, choice effort, and then somehow he becomes so skinny, and then he was lying on the big rock, just I think sunbathing, and fall asleep. And then some pretty ladies with a nice dress on, and then sees this half-naked man, and then say, "Oh, look at this miserable person. Maybe never become like him." That's what they said. And then Milarepa just laughed. Even you pray, it's difficult for you to become like me. He even laughed. There's no upset. It's so much joy there. That's right. Because deep inside, he's so heavy. That's the guru. Heavy. It's near. So same thing here. That's how meditation has to make us strong. So this is one way to think or take away. 야, 리시 가서 된대 뭐지? 어디? 더 리식 세티. 리식 땅으로 미쳤대 세티. 리식 세티 하고 스타두스. 제가 디나로 단다. 주된 출자기 디나로라. 디나 다라도 와. 도와줄 만들지. 계획자니 아니 고월 값에 너도 마땅네. 탐지 고월 재민도 좀센 대변나스. 뒤송에 라송에.
Okay, re. Yes, of course. Ras.
오케이. 직된 반남로 고월 대비 삼배 대다장 줘봐. 리식 땅으로 채디. 리식 세디. 내가
Yeah.
어디 배야고요. 내가 세디. 진짜기 때라당마당 갖춰줘. 메라당마당 두쳐줘. somebody 내게 땜부 맞차게 봐도 안 다른 것들이 있지.
So what this really in the there's a in the Tupten Chögyadapa commentary there's a when talking about how it's difficult even for the conquerors to please all, then there's a quote from Sutra, and it says why it's not possible to through the reason that it's not actually possible to be able to please all, then even though we have the mind which wishes to be able to please all of the worldly people, but for temporary, so it uses this word reshik, which is to, in this context, means to be for the time being, temporarily. We put aside our attempts to sort of be very familiar and accompany them closely and be very, very familiar with them, and until our ability to not be strongly influenced by praise or slander or blame and slander is strong and stable. Until that point, then temporarily, for the meantime, we would put aside becoming over familiar with, even though we have the thought to wish to be able to please them.
So temporarily is such a great thing here. Then you know, while you're doing meditation, doing your commitments, or meditating, now you will think, I'm doing this in order to make myself very strong. And then I go to to meet a friend or an enemy. I don't know who will go and meet an enemy. I don't know that, but there could be someone who really want to practice. So, and then he encounters with the enemy or friend. So he could be the one that to check his mind whether he's strong or not. He will really definitely check. It's really found in this day-to-day life practice. Nobody will just check like that. So it is very necessary. It's very necessary. So this temporarily, I'm going to do this, stay away. Otherwise, sometimes you feel like, oh, the meditators are so happy. Oh, they just become so isolated. But then it's not forever there. How can they just stay forever in the cave? And then that's why Buddha will, it's amazing because Buddha will make a special connection with the Bodhisattvas because Bodhisattva are very committed and devoted to Buddha. So when they are meditating, meditative occupiers, so they are typically just like meditating. And then sometimes then they will hear the snap.
Snap of the fingers, yes. Snap.
The sound of the snap of the finger. The fingers are color.
thumbs.
They will hear this. Then they will come out from the meditation. So it's saying now it's your time. It's for you time to do other practices, not just to meditate. So then Bodhisattva has to. So that's why because some people who studied Parjin, the Kasata, the Abhisamaya Alankara, and then there is a saying, when the Womingi Tadicharan Jurda, Womingi Tendu Shubig Chanson Saguba, Jundawa, Jungi Tamadera, Simjingi Jungi Tamalawa.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Sachubo, Juntawa Silva,
Yeah.
Sachubola, Juntawa Silva, Jungi Tama.
Yeah.
Chezanga Sachubo, the Ani 이게 공견이 슈디비 qabla 아니 디당 냠도 쭈바 먹고 싶지 요레스 쭈베 땡고 요르다 디기 디 쭈베 쭈바
No, yeah.
데베 땡로 요바다 다 사다 서유의 고안의 요네 쭈바 대다 탐지 아니 디두 야 쭈베 뒤제 네 상지가 요레 쭈베 요요바 냠도 상지 주 요레스 디 도저지가 와가지고 제가anga 전주 선반지 인터뷰 쇼라 상기 기념도다 차례데 마손 가르난 것은 상기 세라베인자 고 상기기 자반 마신 로고도 전에 아니 그 주시디당 냠도 두버 용어로서 봐 아니 심진기 된자보다 진소 버진 쪽이 냠네 제도 제고도가 어디 마도 지기 드네베 고대 기군 상황 잡지는 다 튜니 아니 직된다 아니 튜니 만져 되긴 세서면도가.
Yes, so even from the Patan the literature about the from the Abhisamayalankara, the ornament of clear realization, and in the discussions and debates that take place in relation to that text, there's a sort of the presentation of the essentially the last moments of on the path on the 10th bhumi, or the 10th ground, of the beings who are on the 10th ground and in the sort of next moments will actually become a Buddha, and it's called the path, the uninterrupted path of meditative equipoise at the end of the continuum, which means at the end of the continuum of being a sentient being, and in the next, essentially they'll become a Buddha next. And at that point there's a debate, like there's even a debate at that point, because of their being on the 10th bhumi and having very high realizations, they are able to send out emanations across the kind of samsaric universe to the gods and all over the different realms. And then there's a sort of debate that we get into where it talks about whether does the bodhisattva, this is a bodhisattva on the 10th ground, do they have to draw back all of those emanations into themselves and draw them together and then become the Buddha, or do those emanations sort of stay out there and the person becomes the Buddha? But of course, and of course, that's a kind of technical debate. But what we should take away from this is the fact that, well, these great beings, we call them the sons of the children of the conquerors, so the children of the Buddhas. We call them that because what they do is that through these things like these emanations, they perform the same. They perform in a very very similar activity, not quite the same, but very similar activities, such as engaging in the practices of the 6 perfections for the welfare of the sentient beings. So they engage in activities and conduct practices which are very similar to that of the Buddha. So we can see from this is a very rarefied being on the 10th bhumi. It's not just about shutting the door and disappearing away from the concerns of others. This example, this is a technical debate, but we can see that they're fully committed to did Drashidua. they're fully committed to the sentient beings with their activities. So it's not about shutting the door, closing the door, and disappearing away from sentient beings.
Hola. What's one? Okay. Okay. Now we do a dedication. Oh, Kelsey, you can.
I'll read it because Kelsey's muted. I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue with the dedication praise is the best by all the
She's reading. She's reading. Maybe
Maybe
you're
you can't
unmuted.
hear it.
She's muted.
Muted?
Oh.
You're muted?
Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
I fully dedicate all my roots and virtue.
Okay. You can mute it from there
Okay.
and then try once again. It should be there.
I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue with the dedication praise is the best by all the gone beyond victorious ones of the 3 times in order to have good conduct. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal the treasure of happiness in me.
Okay. Okay. So thank you everybody. Okay.